Hello! Today I'm going to be going through a 30-minute mouse study I did of Sean Connery. Now, just to clarify, the final result doesn't really look like Sean Connery, but it does look like a human, which, when you're painting with a mouse, I feel is good enough for me. I want to talk a bit about why I think mouse studies are actually kind of useful. I've had some odd looks and comments from people. One of my lecturers actually thought that me doing studies with my mouse was just kind of masochistic and torturous, but I promise there is a use behind it. There is some utility in doing a mouse study, and hopefully as I'm painting you can kind of tell what that use might be. One of the first things I want to go over is posture, and how using a mouse to paint has actually helped my posture incredibly. If you're anything like me and you're a 20-year-old art gremlin whose back has been bent out of shape from hours and hours and hours of kind of hunching over your Wacom tablet, doing a mouse study is really, really relaxing. You can fully recline in your desk chair. It's quite nice on your wrist because you can just hold your mouse in a very passive position and block in these larger shapes. Those large shapes are actually the second thing that I want to talk about. Now, using a mouse is quite similar to using the hard round brush in that it limits your ability to dive straight into detail. You end up having to block out larger shapes because, let's face it, a mouse is not a natural drawing tool. A lot of people, in fact almost everyone, lacks the motor control skills to move a mouse in such a way that will produce clean or accurate lines. So when you're painting, you'll find yourself using the mouse in new and interesting ways to block in large areas of tone. I'd highly recommend this to anyone who maybe they're nervous about approaching painting and moving away from line drawing, if that's what they want to do, because in my personal opinion, it's when we limit ourselves that we can produce better results, more interesting results. Personally, I learn better when I'm under pressure to deliver on something. I think challenges are not only useful in terms of marking our own personal development, but useful in providing some kind of nugget of entertainment where something might ordinarily be a bit boring or a bit kind of tiresome. Hopefully you can see here as I'm talking that in the background this painting's kind of coming along in a very structured, slow manner. I'm identifying planes of the face and large shapes and blocking them in. If you're gonna do this, I really wouldn't concern yourself with realism. I wouldn't concern yourself with getting too much of an accurate picture. It's all about values and colors in relation to each other rather than in relation to the reference image. You can produce something that looks human, you can produce something that looks 3D, realistic in a sense, but it's hard enough to get a likeness, especially with portraiture, even when you're using a pen and tablet. So when you're limiting yourself this severely, it's unreasonable to expect a kind of amazing result. At first, anyway. The more I do these mouse studies, the more I'm thinking the mouse could be learned as a motor skill, just like the tablet can be learned. And that's something that I'm seriously considering investing time into. Craig Mullins, also known as the godfather of digital art, is quite famous for having used a mouse to paint digitally for about 10 years. And if you see his artwork, I might edit some up onto the screen now. It's very, very impressive, but you can definitely see where the influence of this style of working might come into it. A lot of the areas when he's painting are left relatively barren or unfinished, and he only puts in the detail where he really has to, and whether that's on account of efficiency or stylistic choice is sometimes unclear. My point is, just like anything else out there, the mouse can be used as another artistic tool, and I really do see no reason why you shouldn't be experimenting with this kind of thing. It's up to you, but obviously the further you go pushing things to their limits, seeing how they work, playing around with them, experimenting, the deeper an understanding of your own workflow you're going to get. You're going to have gone down a lot of routes that are not going to work and you're going to turn back, but some of those routes that you go down just purely as an experiment will actually be successful. You might pursue them further. You might develop some kind of unique visual style from kind of exploring these things. And where's the harm in it? It can be entertaining, it can be fun, it can be kind of enriching. I think one of the main things is maybe even that it makes you more thankful for your graphics tablet. Speaking of which, for a lot of artists who maybe can't afford a graphics tablet, maybe younger artists, I'm partly doing this to prove a point that it is doable with a mouse, that you can make nice things, just like my previous Hardbound video, and a video that I'm making soon. I want to kind of crush the idea that you require some sort of special equipment, some kind of special brushes from an artist, a high-end computer, any of that, to make nice, appealing looking art. I want to really drive home the point that an artist is not something that you can buy and upgrade. It is a set of skills. An artist is made up of their own wealth of experiences, and that's kind of channeled through their artistic fundamentals and how they can manipulate those to produce images. I hope you found this video as inspiring as it was inspiring for me to make. A few months ago I engaged with my first mouse study, and looking back it was pretty horrendous, and that's exactly the point, is that even with something as unassuming as a mouse that a lot of people couldn't imagine painting with because of how difficult it is to use, through kind of obnoxious willpower, you can get to a level where you're making images, where you're producing work, and from that point it can only get better. I really would recommend this exercise to you. I really think that if you go away and you engage with it and you put your mind to it and you accept before you begin that whatever you produce probably isn't going to be very beautiful, it's not going to be very pretty, then you can have fun with it. You can make something that might surprise you, and you can maybe even add it to that tool belt as an artist. One more thing that you can use to your advantage. I think that's very powerful. At the very least, it could be a fun party trick to show your friends. And with that, I'm going to leave you. This was 30 minutes with a mouse. Try it out. I also hope you appreciated the increase in mic quality of this video. Now that I have this new mic, I'm going to be pumping out videos semi-regularly, hopefully, so keep an eye out. Hope you have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next one.